MSP Summit, September 2025 by Channel Partners in Orlando. Great event, big event, really enjoyed it. Had 13 great conversations with vendors and MSPs. Really well attended, well organized. I love working with Bob and the team there. The first interview was with Greg Talone from Cloud IBR. Really enjoyed it. Really interesting man. I look forward to talking with Greg some more and maybe even playing some golf. Logan, of course, from Vendasta, fascinating platform that helps MSPs. They're in another area. They're moving towards, they want to move towards MSPs to see how they can help them grow. Russ Reeder. Oh my goodness. Great MSP, XTM. Really enjoyed talking to Russ. I'm always fascinated with the growth of those large kind of master MSPs. They are master MSPs. William Rubio, of course, from Call Tower. Love working with Call Tower. He's the CRO there. They're offering a lot of areas that really MSPs need to look to expand in. Great conversation with William. Scott, of course, Scott Furman from a very great conversation. He's head of operations there, and really interesting take on what he does and how he helps MSPs, how his firm helps MSPs. Jeff Hill from Stellar Cyber. Really like talking to Jeff. He's Bulldog. He's really interesting insights. Conversation went by really quickly. Great conversation with Jeff. Ryan Stoner, who I have known for a long time. He's now with Judy Security, doing really great things, helping MSPs. Xan Stevenson. Very interesting. We opened the conversation up with just finance and where he thought he was lacking, and really dove into it and can help people in it. Has great insight right all over, to what he does now in networking and helping MSPs. Niels, yes, Niels was great too. He loves fixing things. He buys broken things and fixes them, just has an engineering mind, and how Keep It can help MSPs grow and help protect their clients. Great conversation with Neil. Paul, of course, Mander from Optory. Great conversation with Paul. The whole area, social engineering. I knew very little about this. I know a little bit more, but he's here to help MSPs. Jackie Robinson, of course, from, Anunta, right from Connecticut, the state that I'm from. Great insight on how to help MSPs with their great desktop as a service. Michelle Raguso McBain, my longtime friend, been asking her to be on the podcast for years. She's now with a company called Red Access, doing great things there. Always love talking to Michelle. Great insight, great spirit, great energy. I just can't say enough great things about Michelle. And then lastly, of course, Cale Eisenberg, great company from Vercom. We're doing a lot of work with Vercom. Cale's got great insight. I've known Cale for 5 or 6 years now. We kind of touched base a while ago, but came back now. We have a lot of friends in common. We start off with a very interesting subject of barbershop quartets. He's a 2025 champion, and bring it right into helping MSPs with security and email security and other great services Vercom has. Great time there at the MSP Summit. Thanks so much. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz. People ask me, how did I lose 130 pounds? The quick answer is always discipline. I started my business, wasn't paying attention to my health, was eating too much, drinking too much sweets. My daughter was born. Next thing I know, I'm pre-diabetic. I have hypertension. I knew something had to change. Discipline. I, like many of you, have faced many challenges in your career, in your family, in your life, in your faith. How did you attack them? How did you approach them? How did you solve them, hopefully? It all had to have some degree of discipline. I'm also asked, how did you found and start a tech business? And it lasted over 25 years. Discipline. I was committed to it, enjoyed technology, didn't enjoy some aspects of it, but knew it was necessary. Discipline. Our podcast mission How do we use discipline to better ourselves and society? Join me, please, as I talk to interesting people and discuss how they use discipline in their family and their passion and their careers and how it helped them. Our podcast vision, growth through learning from others. Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. It'll be light and serious. Join us, please. Thank you for consideration. What is it about investing and just how money is made in these markets? Why is it so fascinating to you?
I think, well, I'll take a step back. So I remember when I got out of my first, let's say, like long-term corporate gig, and you've been contributing to 401k the whole time, did the company match, and you build up this like little nest egg, and you're proud of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And then I ran into someone who said, have you ever actually paid attention to where they put your money, what's there, and why they choose those funds, and what's in it for them? Because there's, I followed like not only where the money is going, but what's in their interest to put it where it goes. Now, it may help you too, but you start to peel back the onion and understand things like, expense ratios and all these things within the funds themselves. And I said, man, I just have such a blind spot for this
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
Spent no time learning about it. And then once you start to learn about it, just are fascinated by the number of ways people have figured out how to make money, and, I think that was kind of the tip of the iceberg. And, I grew up like middle class household, never wanted for anything. So it wasn't I have to.
Necessity. Yeah.
Necessity. Yeah. It was more just interest. But also when I started talking to my folks about it, they kind of came from the generation of, pick a few blue chip stocks and
sit on them.
They went through, great appreciation. I think a lot of people in this country. Not to say you can't make money that way and good money that way, but what I found is like what that generation went through from a stock appreciation standpoint. Not to say it won't be replicated. Like I'll bet on America, but I'm not necessarily going to say that's the only. That I said, oh, you ever heard of an ETF and all these other like different things? My parents were like, no, don't even know what that is.
I don't either.
So that kind of led me down.
And your advice to those people who were in your shoes before you kind of went down this rabbit hole is?
I would say start with a few just like key publications, get going.
Such as?
I think Morningstar's great. Barron's. I'm not saying I dislike Jim Cramer. I think he's great, but it's more entertainment.
It is.
It's not going to be helping you get exposed to sector rotation in a more sophisticated way and look at longer term trends, right? So watch them for entertainment, not for, I would say, research. Right? So I think that's the first step, and then just continue. Yeah.
Should we focus on the Magnificent Seven to bet on, to invest in?
Not only that. I mean, I'm not saying don't, but if that's your only investment, that's probably not.
Why?
Too much concentration. Right. So
Magnificent Seven is what?
You basically have the largest stocks.
Microsoft,
primarily
Google,
stocks.
right? Yeah,
exactly.
Tesla,
Nvidia, and so on.
Yeah.
And love tech. I'm in tech.
Yes.
But to say that I'm going to put all my money there, it's all about key diversification. So I would tell someone to put all their money into cryptocurrency. To have no exposure to cryptocurrency, I think, is also
right. Why?
It's become a store of value.
It is
in the current market. And I think when you saw a lot of, let's call it, deregulation initially, and now they're coming back with like, I think smart regulations is in the dialogue today in the government. Not necessarily just to open up the floodgates, but to think about, okay, how can this be a store of value for decades, if not centuries? And then you start to see institutional investors like BlackRock and others get involved. That's a tip of the hat to say, this is going to get bigger. And bigger. So some people call it funny money. I would say any investment, you look at it this way. Anything you put your money into, you have to accept it can go to zero. But similarly, people who just put money in a bank account, just a savings account, that money is going to depreciate in value over time. So you're basically losing money.
Interesting.
One way or the other, unless you obviously diversify, and then some of your picks will go really well. And, can make up for things that don't go well. And so I think last piece of advice there too is like know when to cut a loser.
Right.
A good aggressive stop loss when you need it is not a bad thing.
Make a plan and stick to it.
I think you have to. in a lot of cases. Now, for me, I have a few buckets. So I have my, the SCHDs of the world, those ETFs that are very broad.
ETF.
Yeah, exchange traded fund. But there's also exchange traded notes. There are BTCs, there's CEFs, there's CLOs. There are all these different types of funds out there that make money in different ways. So once again, it's just that was just the tip of the iceberg. But parents like, what's an ETF?
Yeah.
And so SCHD, it's kind of one of those common blue chip stocks, but a broad diversification across multiple sectors that means a pretty decent dividend that's consistent, which I love. I'm like, hey, that's great. But then when you look at, okay, I want to also get exposure to things that perhaps have more upside, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to invest in this SCHD too. Right. So having a good, in my experience, crypto, I generally don't do single stock investing unless it's a speculation play. To a certain extent, so I'll give you one right now. I think it still has a lot of upside potentially. It's not financial advice.
Right, of course.
We're talking a lot of financial advice.
Caveat, yes.
But, I think it's good to do your own research. So Joby, great example. Kind of like, I do it as like the Uber of the future. So you have Joby, Archer, and a few other players who are doing basically electric taxis in the air, electric helicopters, essentially. And they are getting contracts in the U.S. and Saudi Arabia, all over the world to basically go live with this technology.
Wow.
So you think about the pain points of modern day traffic. Like if you had just a few dozen of these AirPads where people you can get potentially into your Joby app, or my theory is that Uber will buy them today.
Right.
Get your electric helicopter. It takes you across Manhattan or across San Francisco, across LA, down to, see your daughter.
Sure. Yes.
Just think about how much pain that would solve.
Wow.
Not only, you can make the green, emission argument if you want to, either or. Like it's a technology that I think our society needs, especially for urban centers. That's like an example of this technology could absolutely skyrocket, right? Through acquisition or otherwise. So that's generally how I do my single stock picks. But then once again, every week I'm looking at taking dividend income and putting it into some speculation, but primarily the broad market ETFs or BDCs. Things that have been around a long time.
We've been promised flying cars all my life, it seems.
They're here.
They're here. They're here now. Yeah.
Actually, I don't work there anymore, but I was at an OEM where they were my customer. So that's how I found out about them.
Oh, interesting.
And once I left the company, I was like, okay, I can invest now. When I get in there, but I went to their fabrication center.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So then we're here at the MSP Summit in Orlando. It's mid-September. What are some of your goals this week?
Me? Any partners? Meter is a new player in the market.
Yes.
Been in business about 10 years. Majority of that time has been product development. And we have to get out in the channel now. We are 100% channel today. So we made the shift from basically a founder-led direct sales force a little over 2 years ago. So everything is channel fulfilled. But as you know, there's a lot of vendors in the channel.
Yes.
If you're not present, if you're not putting in the FaceTime, not putting in the miles, it's going to be tough for people to know about you, especially in the early days. So just getting the brand out there, having a lot of conversations, just stirring up interest. I've been spending a lot of time on the road this year, which has been a lot of fun. So it's another, I think, key stop for us.
So how does Meter help MSPs?
There are a few different key areas. So just for the sake of, not to bore your listeners, or just to kind of distill it down to two key reasons. I think number one is basically the road to $1 for an MSP. I mean, you've owned one, you know what that's like, so you can tell me how valid you think this is.
Yes.
So when you think about, shifting a customer, having a customer who wants to go to an OpEx model, generally what that means is that an MSP has to take on the debt burden. They are looking at anywhere from a 12 to 18, maybe 24-month break even to provide a managed service. And it can be profitable, but it tends to be a lot of pressure on someone who's trying to grow as an MSP or even just run the business, right? So the fact that we're coming to the market where you can be profitable in month 1, month 2 in a subscription model for end-to-end networking, I think it's huge. So I think that shows in a couple of ways. Just general cash flow to obviously run and grow your business and get to the next customer. But also when you think about just having that recurring MRR, and if maybe you're looking to get bought as an MSP, you went through the acquisition yourself.
Yes.
Right? So that MRR is hugely valuable. So the fact that we can model that way and not force the debt down to you as an MSP is one huge driver. I think the other thing, and let me ask you a question. I made, you've heard of Texas Instruments, right?
Of course.
Let me, I want to make sure I get the name of this other company right, because I had never heard of them until I was doing some initial research. Let me ask you this. I'll just reference my notes.
I had a TRS 80 when I was a kid, and yeah, Texas was huge.
There was, Bomar. Have you heard of Bomar?
No.
Okay, exactly. So Texas Instruments was what people would generally refer to as a Ford vertically integrated company. So they started to vertically integrate into calculators.
Right.
Bomar saw this, panicked, and tried to do backwards vertical integration to basically, consolidate supply chain and all that kind of stuff and be, more valuable to their customer. Didn't work out for them, right? And what we're seeing in the market today are symptoms of the same thing. You have all these OEMs consolidating. They're being forced to basically buy up smaller players to have a more broad portfolio. For us, vertical integration has been part of the equation since day one. And that's why Meter was in business, but not going to market for 8 of 10 years, because we were building that fully vertically integrated stack to bring that to market when customers first heard of us. Why does that matter? I think one, we can not focus on the hardware resale. We can model a subscription on our P&L to basically allow that consumption model and not think about, repackaging hardware resale as a service. It's strictly actually a subscription service. So that's huge in terms of just how we look at our financials. And then the support model itself, end-to-end vertical integration. So you're not having 3 or 4 different networking solutions that you patch together. You can actually have one central operating system that can monitor every packet, can give you a better overall support experience, because at the end of the day, we have a 4.9 SLA that we're looking to hit with the service. That extends to the MSP customer space. And obviously, the MSP working with us, they can expect a certain level of service and attention to support because we can see the whole network when we go to market. So those are the 2 key drivers. There are other things that do come up, but I'd say, once again, vertical integration and the economic.
So MSPs come to you to do what specifically?
Yeah, a couple of things. One, like I said, they're trying to increase MRR. That could be one.
And how do you help in that?
We allow them to basically consume a Meter network and sell it to their customer on a monthly basis if they want to.
And your Meter network does what?
Wireless connectivity, SD-WAN, filtering, so DNS filtering, IDS, IPS. We have cellular access points. We also have campus and aggregation switching as well today. We want to be the next great networking company. So core networking extends, to basically, connectivity. There will be other basic product offerings, but it's always going to be core network. So data centers coming for us and some other key offerings, but you're not going to see us have like extreme out of focus, basic product. The streets demanding, we want network. That's our.
It's amazing how SD-WAN was popular years ago and it kind of fell away and it seems like it's coming back now. Do I have that wrong?
No, I think you're absolutely right.
Why?
I think a lot of customers are focused on the app, especially it's not just retail, but you think about talking to MSPs about this, they're going from an SLA model to basically SLO and optimizing that app.
Service lease agreement to an SLO.
Service, yeah. Basically, you think about the app actually being optimized.
I see.
And optimization at an app level, think about Zoom, think about a homegrown app, how well that app performs is hugely important to a lot of, especially maybe retail customers. There's going to be a lot of different types of customers. There are tons of outcomes that fall into that category, but without SD-WAN, it's really hard to achieve that outcome. So there are a ton of players in the space.
Yes.
No surprise there. But it's generally, I think, referred to as table stakes these days, I would say.
I don't know. Explain that concept.
Well, if you're coming and telling a customer, I can provide an end-to-end network for you, and you can't do SD-WAN, they're kind of going to look at you.
Right. Right.
And say, so how are you going to prioritize my traffic? You want me to get another? And what has been the solution is that they'll have someone for their firewall, and then another vendor for SD-WAN, another vendor for wireless, another vendor for switching. That we're looking to consolidate all into one experience and one platform.
So say when an MSP is looking for an SD-WAN partner, what questions should they be asking?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's a understanding of, and this is where I'm not saying that Meter diverges from the herd. I think it's if someone's coming to us for just strict SD-WAN, it's not that we want to change the conversation right away. I think we are trying to say yes, and we're not only going to provide SD-WAN, but we can also help you be profitable across the whole network and actually capture revenue across the whole network, not just SD-WAN. It's not a point solution that we're selling. So I think my philosophy on that is going to be different than like someone who only does SD-WAN and that's all they think about. There are a few of them out there. So I think Meter's looking at it as we want to be a partner for your networking practice, the full network, not solely SD-WAN. And we have mechanisms to help customers. Let's say they just installed, I almost say like any particular competitor because I don't want to come off negative or positive. It's just they have another SD-WAN solution. They hear about Meter. They love the economic model, the idea of like one operating system, and the partner does too. And they say, you know what? Meter will actually buy back your current solution and add it to your subscription.
Wow.
So we have a very aggressive buyback program to help people consolidate everything Meter end to end. Because once again, we're not just going to position SD-WAN only or Meter wireless only or Meter security only.
I talked to a former MSP, as you mentioned. I talk to MSPs every day, and the things that keep them up at night have been pretty consistent last 6, 7 years. And they are, one, cybersecurity. If their clients get attacked, they're going to have to allocate resources. They're fixed rate. They're going to lose money. They're probably going to get fired. They might even get sued. Two is human capital. If their major techs leave, how are they going to replace them? Unemployment in IT is 1%. It's ridiculously low. And lastly is just growth. Private equity has poured in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Their friends are selling their MSPs. How am I going to organically grow?
Right.
It seems that you could help there.
For both, yeah. So let's talk about the first one. We didn't talk about lifecycle management yet.
All right.
So our philosophy is N-1. So what that means is that any customer that we acquire with our partner, we will proactively ship gear to them over the course of that customer's life cycle with us.
Wow.
And so when you think about security vulnerabilities, generally speaking, like upwards of half of them are from end of sale, end of life, non-supported gear in the field. Yeah. So
some old switch.
Router.
Yeah.
I feel like we see this in the news all the time.
Right.
Very legitimate players where it's not necessarily that those are bad technologies. It's the fact that the customer has decided for reasons, perhaps even unbeknownst to them.
Right.
I didn't upgrade my firmware. Oh, wait, I can't upgrade my firmware because this hardware is too old. Oh, I'm just going to let that sit in the field now. I'll deal with it later. What if you had an OEM that said, no, we're going to replace that as part of your base subscription, and that's not actually going to increase your cost. That's the thing, and the unique thing about Meter when they first hear about us is that we don't look at this as a hardware resale. I mentioned hardware margin earlier. We're going to send you as much hardware as you need. We're going to replace it proactively and make sure that we don't have all these old firewalls and switches out in the field that are vulnerable. So that is a huge, when you think about a 10-year time horizon or even a 5-year one, that's a huge improvement from quote unquote status quo. So it's a general business practice. That's the way we do business. And that is a huge uplift. On staff augmentation, there are a couple different things there. You have Meter Command, which I do want to expand on here in just a little bit.
Sure.
That's our natural language interface that, hugely effective in terms of scaling and control networks. So it's built within our Meter dashboard, allows customers to push commands or partners to push commands across the whole network, super easily and effectively. So just better return on time conversation. But then Meter as a partner can act as staff augmentation. So I see some MSPs saying, my core market is Tampa. And I have my, dozen to 2 dozen customers, but I want to expand. I want to grow in the whole Southeast or the whole US. What they'll generally do in partnering with Meter, they'll say, you know what? I'm going to do the service delivery of the rack and stack, the configuration, have my knock sock, what have you, around my key customers that have been with me for a long time. All acquisition, I'm going to, although I'll be the face, my brand will be the face to the customer. It's Meter on the back end helping me stand up those services. So we will deploy technicians. We have our own support team that can act as an extension of that partner's team.
Wow.
So you're right. Like it's not only the talent that's hard to come by today. We look at this as there's going to be a, people call it the great tsunami, right? Myself, like I got great in this beard as well.
Me too.
I'm not that far off. Like,
Yeah.
you fast forward 20, 25 years, the talent coming into the space, forget about sales, like just the operators, far less of them, just the overall just draw of certain types of jobs are changing. And just, I think depending on the network is going to be more and more of a need. And that's where, once again, meter command plus staff augmentation as table stakes with an OEM becomes more and more important. So, yeah, we can help in both ways.
And meter command is natural language.
It is natural language. So just typing
pretty
in,
cool.
like, hey, change this VLAN, or hey, I need you, even more fun. Hey, build me this piece of software. I want this, particular view of my dashboard. That's static. It allows you to say, I need to see, all the clients that are up in like this part of my network, and I want you to provide, constant updates to me, on a rolling basis type of thing. Like, build that for me. Boop, it builds it for you. Wow. The dashboard. So.
How is AI influencing this area?
Huge. So there's the whole AI ops conversation. So yeah, just the idea that can you take the telemetry from all the networks that are basically being serviced, learn from the mistakes that happen on the operator side, or just breaks that happen, generally across the network, and feed that back to help people understand, anonymously, of course. You're not taking customer data, but you're taking all those basically points of data, feeding them into, AI that can understand it and make rational decisions with, okay, this is how we need to build your network to account for what we think could go wrong. This is going to allow you to have a better overall experience. I think it's guiding the customer and the partner, just a better overall setup for their network. But I think it's also going to lead to, not only from AI ops, but AI automation. It is like becoming more and more of a hot topic. So can I have the network handle more tier 1, tier 2 support tickets? If I can do away with 95% of those and I don't have to touch them,
wow,
imagine how much time I can get back for the important stuff. So we're thinking a lot about that a lot. And, our founders are very aggressive in this area. They think the majority of networks will be AI automated within 3 to 5 years.
Wow.
So they're very bullish on it, as you can imagine. I think you'll have, kind of like any adoption curve, you're going to, we're still in the early adoption phase. I would say more or less have started to cross the chasm, but then, the late adopters are probably a decade.
What should vendors do, Xan, to be better partners with MSPs?
There are a few things. This is something that actually, coming from the larger OEMs or one with a non-agency background, I think something we've navigated pretty well. So how do you balance the agency model, through any number of partners that are out there, serving as TSD, with traditional 2-tier distribution. But more importantly, I think, to say that should everyone operate this way, what we've done, and I've seen it be highly effective. Focus first on your partner's profit. Are they profitable? Like that generally, it doesn't solve all problems, but if you're not squeezing their margins, you put yourself in a situation to do business again and again and again. If you lose sight of that, and I think unfortunately a lot of big players lose sight of this, they view the channel as dispensable. That is a march to a slow death. So that brand, that philosophy, really sharing the prosperity that we all can enjoy on an ongoing basis, I think has to be a key of your philosophy.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing that comes to mind. Like I say, route to market, flexibility, profit transparency, and prioritizing that. I think also thinking about roadmap's the wrong word, but helping your partners understand, like, how does the roadmap directly impact their business, who they're going to be hiring, where are you going with the technology to help them think about the formation of their business. I'm not saying we're the only one thinking about this today and communicating that way,
Right.
but I think there are a lot of, and I think this does actually lend to the power of vertical integration, because we have that philosophy. Partners generally have an understanding of what we're going to release, what we're going to get better at, how we're going to operate. So it falls on the, what you say you're going to do, but have a easy to understand philosophy. I think there have been, and everyone probably knows what I'm talking about, large networking companies that say, well, we're a software company, right? But you're still making 60% of your revenue off hardware, right? Now, there's a part of it that they've been around so long, companies like that they can't really change that.
Can't, yeah.
So they're in a place where they're still trying to slowly migrate in another direction. They want to be something else. I mean, for us, we have the benefit of being newer in industry. We started out off with a subscription model. We're vertically integrated. It is truly, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. That's true, but we are seeing like defaults, and we are in a good position to take advantage of the market where it needs us to be and evolve faster in the other direction. So it's interesting, like right place, right time.
Exciting
for us. Yeah.
So Xan, I started my MSP in the 90s, and I was working way too hard and not paying attention to myself and putting the business up first. And next thing I know, I'm at the doctor's office. She tells me I'm at 340 pounds. So I'd gained all this terrible amount of weight. And just like, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. Scared to life. Yeah, it's scared to death. So the next 6-7 months, lost about 150 pounds. Kept it off.
How'd you do it?
Well, there you go. When I tell people that, I say, they say, what'd you do? And I say, discipline. I got routine. That's right.
Favorite,
exactly right.
Yeah, speeches on discipline.
So how does discipline play a role in your life?
A few ways. I think that you have to be, so sometimes I say consistent. Consistency is its own discipline. Like you could say, it's kind of like, what pain do you want to feel now versus later? Right. And, there's someone was speaking through, I don't know if you're, religious person or not, but there is this thought around delaying gratification brings you closer to
interesting your maker power. Yeah.
So it's that moment in time of not only tying to perhaps your own personal beliefs about a larger force at play that needs you to execute, because whether you believe you're here for a purpose or not, I think that is fulfill your potential is really all there is. And that's for me as a husband, as a dad, as part of a business. You see, and it kind of goes back to our first conversation about investing. I realized, like, man, I have a huge gap in my life here. Like, I'm not okay with not stretching further. And what's interesting about the investing conversation, I think it applies to any part of your life. Like once you start to stretch, you're like, wow, like I have so much more capacity. It's like I'm in a place in my life, fortunately, where discipline can still be hard. The consistency can still be hard. But you start to have fun because you start to see what you're capable of. And then for me personally, there is that like, oh no, like that's just what you have to, like, there's no choice. Like you want to fulfill your potential to serve others. That's the only path. Don't get me wrong. Like we all have our off days. Yeah, it still happens. So you got to have some grace for yourself.
Certainly. Yeah. Can't be great at everything. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Anybody watching, listening, how can they get in touch with you, Xan?
Well, for me personally, it's just xanameter.com. That's XAN. So it's a middle of my middle name, Alexander. This guy's been gone by Xan my whole life. So,
interesting.
Yeah, XAN at Meter, or just partners at.
Very cool, Xan. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
Really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with one or two of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.